Oh my god, it stinks. I was trying to escape. What the hell is that? What are nitrogen puffs? What the hell is a head spa? What?
YouTube.com/Sal. Come and join us. Go now. Subscribe now.
Hey, what's up, Legion? My name is Sal, and this is another expedition log. Today we're visiting a mall that has perfected the concept of remaining traditionally enclosed and occupied just enough to keep the local community interested in seeing what's inside. This mall is the perfect symbiosis of nationally and locally favored retail balanced with experiential tenants, and it's an archetype for how modern mall management can reinvent their own dying malls without removing all of its character. As always, I hope all of you are doing well out there, taking care of yourselves and having a good time all the time. I'd like to thank my patrons, elite explorers, super chatters, and everyone who purchased merch from my website over the last few months for their direct support. And if you'd like to see the merch that I have for sale, go to salvatoreamadeo.com/merch. Recently, there was an edgelord making sweaty claims in a mall video that anyone filming living malls is selling out, and it rubbed me the wrong way. The history of living malls is just as important to the overall story of America's dying malls, and I'm cooking a deep narrative in my series here, so stick with me. We're getting back to the dead and abandoned malls soon. But over the last year, I've been traveling around the DC metro region filming and getting to know all of the malls near my new home in Fairfax County, Virginia, and most of them just happen to be living. This ExLog is the penultimate episode in that DC Metro tour and our chance to finally drive a go-kart inside of a mall. So for your consideration, I'd like you all to come take a walk with me through the Manassas Mall in Bull Run, Virginia. But first, a word from our sponsor, Circuit City's Death Rattle. Enjoy.
All 567 stores are closed during the Circuit City Going Out of Business sale.
Push it, click it, press it, flick it, tune it in, turn it on. This is what you watch it on. Any way you work it, integrate your circuit at the city. Circuit City. Come to the place you're welcome. Technology with a heart. Welcome to Circuit City, where service is state of the art. The future at your fingertips, with all the right connections. Punch a key and you can see the new video directions. We can turn your car into an audio star with the one you want for the way you are. A gadget and a gizmo for electric machismo. Some amplitude for the radical dude. We're tuned into your attitude. Come to the place you're welcome. Technology with a heart. Welcome to Circuit City, where service is state of the art. Welcome to Circuit City, where service is state of the art.
You should see us now. We're the place to be.
The place to be this holiday season is Manassas Mall. Over 100 stores to choose from. You're sure to find the right gift for the holiday season or for any occasion. It's here. The fashion, style, and selection.
You should see us now. Manassas Mall.
Welcome to the Manassas Mall in Bull Run, Virginia. I filmed this footage back in February of 2025, right after the roads cleared from a snowstorm that you all saw in my Potomac Mills ExLog. This mall isn't dead. But I wouldn't say it's thriving or bougie or anything like that. Spinoso Realty currently manages the mall, and they seem to have their pulse on what the local community wants from this place. It's a healthy mix of various stores, eateries, and experiences that cater directly to the local community. But this mall has been through a lot in its life, so let's jump into the historical narrative. Back in 1968, Stephen Roth, Russell B. White Jr., and David Mendelbaum formed a new retail development partnership in Clifton, New Jersey called Interstate Properties. Their goal was to initially open a few shopping centers around New Jersey, but to eventually branch out over state lines and open regional shopping malls near major upcoming interstate highways, hence the name Interstate Properties. Interstate was never a major player in the enclosed regional mall game, and they never had plans to monopolize the market like Simon or DeBartolo. But Interstate would come out of the gate swinging with their first mall in Prince William County, Virginia, which they announced in early 1970. Back in the early days of mall development and developing infrastructure around the country, there was typically a ton of community backlash due to traffic and sewage generation and public outcry at zoning and city planning meetings when new malls were in the development stage. People were scared of ruining their quiet towns with noisy cars and events at new shopping malls. We've seen plenty of that narrative through my series. But for the new mall being planned by Interstate here in Bull Run, Virginia, we didn't see any of it. Permits were stamped, zoning was approved, and crews just got to work promptly in 1971 with absolutely no trouble. Interstate secured W.T. Grant as their first anchor space with a leasing agreement signed on January 26, 1971. And 1 year later, on August 1, 1972, the aptly named Mall at Manassas would have its Phase 1 grand opening and ribbon-cutting ceremony, with a Grant City and a Montgomery Ward serving as senior anchors. Grant's stores had been around since the early 1900s, and by the time Interstate was opening their mall at Manassas, there were about 1,200 Grants throughout the US. But with the rise of discount department stores like Kmart, Grants started opening a few discount-oriented configurations themselves named Grant City, but they were just too late, and they started closing locations in 1973. Grants struggled for years to pay the quarterly shareholder dividend and wound up borrowing hundreds of millions of dollars to cover these payouts. By 1976, Grants couldn't secure further loans with all of their assets tied up as collateral, so they filed for bankruptcy. The entire company was liquidated and all locations were closed that year. Then in 1977, Interstate signed a lease with the May Department Store Company to bring a new Hecht department store to the vacant Grant City space. Work on the anchor was completed by Old Forge Metal Craftsmen and Modern Woodwork Specialties Incorporated, and the Hechts opened right in the area that we are now by 1978.
W.T. Grant and Grant City's out-of-business sale. By order of the U.S. District Court, 251 stores from coast to coast are forced to close. Over $60 million worth of wholesale inventory must be liquidated to the general public. It's the largest chain store bankruptcy sale in U.S. history. Everything must go.
This hallway was part of the original mall configuration with Hechts behind us and wards down at the other end.
Wait, what?
I can't help but think that this community room has just been here for decades. But when the mall first opened, this space was either a Foot Locker or a Kay Jewelers, according to the original directory.
Oh my god, it stinks.
When the mall at Manassas first opened, it only consisted of this one long, dark concourse with brown accents originally, that extended from Hecht's in the old Grant City parcel down to Montgomery Ward with a small courtyard in the middle of the two. On New Year's Day 1980, the single-screen Manassas Mall cinema opened showing The Black Hole, which is actually a really fun movie. Anthony Perkins, who played Norman Bates in Hitchcock's Psycho, leads the cast, and the score was composed by John Barry, who also wrote the music for 11 James Bond films. It's campy and it's pretty awful, but just watch it on Hulu. It's one of my favorites, and I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of you that'll dig this movie. When the cinema opened, the mall was nearly fully occupied, and the area that we're walking around in right now was tenanted by a Tom McCann, Walden Books, Hans Shoes, and Eleanor's Town & Country. The mall would continue finding success through the 1980s, despite much larger malls opening around that time, like its biggest competitor, Fair Oaks, in 1980, which I will be covering in my next episode, so stay tuned. Despite Alfred Taubman's shiny new Fair Oaks opening up the street, though, the mall at Manassas would just coast. Fair Oaks was billed as a more upscale mall than Manassas, with the opening of Lord & Taylor in 1981, but that was the only thing setting these two malls apart, and the locals really had nothing compelling them towards Fair Oaks that Manassas couldn't offer.
Is this a suit for ants? Oh, wait, wait, no, it's for kids. Never mind. Okay.
Interstate Properties had always intended for the mall at Manassas to include a third concourse and 4 anchors. But due to census-driven population constraints preventing malls being built over a certain size, they decided to phase the opening and wait for the area to grow a bit. In 1983, Interstate conducted some market research on the local Manassas population and decided that it was time to expand the mall. And so they applied in spring of 1984 to have 31.9 acres at the mall site rezoned for commercial use. Then 12 years after the mall opened, on August 1, 1984, it was announced that a new wing would be added to the mall at Manassas, and 2 additional senior anchor spaces would be constructed as phase 2 for the property. The Potomac News newspaper would hype up this renovation for a few years, showing artist renderings of the new concourse and teasing some of the new tenants that would ultimately occupy the over 60 new spaces. At the time, population growth in Manassas was growing steadily at nearly 3% year over year, and so city planners finally approved the rezoning application for the massive expansion that would see the mall's footprint grow to nearly 900,000 square feet, firmly securing its place as a regional shopping mall and Class A center in the Interstate portfolio. By the way, these reptile places and any sort of animal exploitation used to make money in a mall or anything is just disgusting to me, and I hope this place closes soon and the animals are sent to a sanctuary. This is just gross. I hate this. Work would take about 3 years to complete, and the newly named Manassas Mall would celebrate its Phase 2 grand rededication on February 24, 1987, with Sears and a 2-floor Leggett as 3rd and 4th senior anchors along the brand new concourse.
Now at Leggett, shop our biggest sale of the season, the Founders Day sale. Summer is coming with great value and quality. These are some of the best names in the world. Now at tremendous store-wide savings. Come see this sale for yourself.
Eyebrows.
This section of the mall that we're in right now has been there since the Phase 1 opening in 1972. Back in the 80s, it was mainly a services-oriented concourse. There was a fun and fitness health spa where shoppers could cultivate mass, and a Bob's Old Fashioned ice cream shop for those cheat days. There was a First America Savings and Loan, Dr. Norman Rosenberg's optometry practice, Charles Russell hairstylists, the Vacuum Center, and a Pearl Vision Center where you could fill a new glasses prescription from Dr. Rosenberg. But all of these places were mainly in service to the Montgomery ward that anchored this end of the mall. Back then, everything you needed was here at the mall, and malls were designed to keep you inside of them for as long as possible. And it really worked. People spent so much money and time inside malls. It was the kind of money going into developers' pockets that left them with only 2 options back then. They could build or buy a new mall, or they could expand one that they've already got. Money was spilling out of their pockets back then. And that's what Interstate Properties did. They spent millions of dollars to expand the Manassas Mall so it could put up a fight against Fair Oaks. That's what smart, responsible, forward-thinking developers did back then, and it's why modern scumbag developers like Cohan and Namdar fail so hard today. By May 16, 1986, the Manassas Mall Cinema was twinned and had 5 new screens added, now called the Manassas Showcase Theaters 7. Showing at the time was Critters, The Money Pit, JoJo Dancer, Legend, Heathcliff, Police Academy 3, In the Shadow of Kilimanjaro, and Sleeping Beauty. Back then, tickets were $2.50 every night, except Tuesday when they were only $1. Just to keep things calibrated with what you'll see in this footage, the movie theater was located right where the H&M is today. On January 28, 1988, news broke in the Washington Post that Eddie DeBartolo was set to construct a new super-regional mall just 3 miles to the north of Manassas Mall, and it would be part of an overall plan to revamp the entire region adjacent to the Manassas National Battlefield Park. DeBartolo's new project, including his new Prince William Center Mall, would span 600 acres, and it would have an enclosed leasable retail footprint of over 1.2 million square feet. It would bring nearly 2 million square feet of office space and 560 new homes to the area. But by this time, though, DeBartolo's name had been on the DOJ's organized crime principal subjects list for years, and by May of 1988, the SEC launched a probe against DeBartolo, alleging that he illegally aided Paul Blitzerian through the mid-1980s in the hostile takeover of the Singer Sewing Machine Company through stock parking, which is when one party purchases shares in coordination with another to keep legal ownership separated and to avoid either party's holdings exceeding federal disclosure law thresholds. They were just getting a majority through shady means. So DeBartolo had to cool it with new developments while his legal matters were being squared away, and his new mall in Manassas would be canceled as a result. It is worth noting, though, that DeBartolo settled with the SEC in 1989, paying $2.7 million in fines, getting a slap on his wrist, and ultimately clearing his name. I still think he was mobbed up, though.
Looks like Lurch from the Addams Family.
Into the 1990s, Manassas Mall would have all of its senior anchors intact with over 90% occupancy, but the mall was beginning to show its age. It was announced in the mid-90s that Manassas Mall would undergo a major facelift to update the dark brown aesthetic that it had for years with a brighter overall look, and the result of that is how the mall looks to this day. As work inside the mall was staged to begin by 1996, it was also announced that the former Grant City turned Hex would be closing and relocating to a new building at the north end of the mall, directly adjacent to Sears. The old Hex was demolished and the new Hex reopened in 1997, and on its old parcel, a new Target store opened that same year. It was also at this time that the Leggett department store chain was purchased by Belk, who chose not to renew the lease at Manassas Mall. The Leggett closed and it was replaced later in 1997 by a JCPenney. As Manassas Mall straddled the new millennium, Montgomery Ward made the decision to cease operations after their worst Christmas season on record, announcing on December 28, 2000 that all stores would be closed in the following year. The Wards at Manassas Mall had a brief liquidation and closed by February 2001, and 1 year later, Sears moved out of its space from the 1986 renovation and into the former Wards building, opening on March 29, 2002, with a Sears Auto Center attached. A few years later, on February 28, 2005, Federated Department Stores purchased the May Department Store Company for $11 billion in stock, which included the Hecht Company. As a result, all Hechts would be shuttered and defunct by September 9, 2006, at which point the location at Manassas Mall was converted to a Macy's masthead. But as you'll see when we head outside, the Hechts branding is still engraved into the stone on that facade. Just as Federated was closing the deal with May, it was announced that Walmart would be opening a new supercenter at the Manassas Mall, which had its grand opening in the former 1986 Sears parcel by 2009. But by this point in the late 2000s, Interstate Properties had been failing to make payments on time for the Manassas Mall, and Vornado Realty Trust was brought in as special servicer to manage and lease the property. By the 2010s, the Manassas Mall had gained a reputation as Virginia's worst mall, despite steadily full occupancy and a full slate of senior anchors. People didn't want to travel to this mall, and the only traffic was coming from locals. It was even enough for Target to pull the plug, who closed their location here in 2013 using declining sales as an excuse to close. By 2014, Vornado exited their interest in the mall, and the Pyramid Company came in to manage and lease, while the mortgage fell back into the hands of Interstate Properties lender JP Morgan. 1 year later, JCPenney announced a slate of 40 closures, including the location here at Manassas, which closed later in 2015. The former JCPenney was replaced by an at-home discount furniture store a few months later. I'm sure the Walmart was a great place for locals to get some grocery shopping done, and the At Home had sales here and there for decent furniture, but neither of them are capable of generating actual mall traffic. And with Macy's and the ailing Sears as the sole traditional anchor tenants remaining, Manassas Mall was beginning to lose inline tenants quickly, truly living up to its local reputation as Virginia's worst mall. The whole Manassas Mall being, quote, Virginia's worst mall circulated around the internet on Facebook and forums and stuff in the 2010s, and people were just spreading rumors that the area was unsafe and dirty and it was all just a bunch of BS. I don't agree with it at all. I don't think Manassas is the greatest city in the world by any means, but this area is fine. Manassas Mall is fine. If you're in the area, come visit it. The actual worst mall in Virginia, I think, would probably go to Ballston Quarter, but that's just my opinion.
What the hell is that? What the hell is dragon breath? What are nitrogen puffs? What is that? He's like 6. Oh.
In what I think was an incredibly forward-thinking and big-brained mall management maneuver, Vornado completely reimagined the vacant Grants-turned-Hechts-turned-Target space into an experiential concourse with restaurants, an uptown alley, bowling alley, and an Autobahn-speed indoor high-speed electric go-kart racetrack in 2015. It was also at this time that Vornado pumped a few $1 million into revamping the mall entrances and signage to a more modern aesthetic. I really do wish, though, that they kept the rad green square entrances with the marquee lights, but here we are. The experiential concourse was starting to raise occupancy in the mall and bring more traffic to the mall, and by 2016, Manassas Mall was assessed for $46.3 million. A few years later, by 2019, the COVID quarantine forced the mall to close temporarily, and just like most other malls, wavering trust in enclosed retail spaces caused mall property values to plummet. By the end of 2019, Sears announced that their Manassas Mall location would be closing, along with 96 other locations around the country, and by this time, the assessment for Manassas Mall had dropped to $31.3 million. So JP Morgan finally decided to put the mall up for sale in December later that year. A few months later, in February of 2020, Miami-based Lionheart Capital purchased the Manassas Mall for $41 million. And just as the ink was drying, Sears finished up their liquidation and shuttered the location here at the mall. When Lionheart Capital purchased the mall, they brought in Syracuse, New York-based Spinoso Real Estate to manage and lease the property. My last mention of Spinoso on this channel was back in ExLog 60, when I covered the Seafoam Sentinel, the Johnstown Galleria. Spinoso was brought in as special servicer for Johnstown back in 2020 to revive the property. And while Johnstown had struggles of its own, under Spinoso's management, they were able to take the mall from a sheriff's sale price of just $240,000 in 2021 up to a much healthier sale price of $3.1 million in August of 2022. We're going to take a look around an abandoned gas station that was just frozen in time. From what I can tell, it was a Hess gas station up until about May of 2018, and then it operated briefly as a Marathon gas station for a few months in 2019, when gas was apparently going for $2.15 a gallon.
There's this abandoned gas station right outside of the Manassas Mall I just didn't know existed. I guess I just never drove this way to the mall before, but this kind of just came out of nowhere at me, and it's been stuck in time for so long. The gas, it looks like the last cash price for gas here for regular gas was $2.15. So this place has been closed for quite some time. This has been closed for quite a while. They're still keeping tabs on it. It looks like they still have a Ring camera going all the time. Hey, buddy. Hi. Cool abandoned gas station. This place is rad. Anyway, yeah, that's the little abandoned gas station right outside of the Manassas Mall. So let me show you the rest of the outside of the Manassas Mall.
In 2023, a modest portion of the Wards turned Sears anchor space was converted to a floor and decor store. They sell tile and flooring products at a mall. I don't know. It was definitely a decision that someone thought about and made. The Auto Center remains vacant. The IHOP is still open 24/7, and in 2024, the Autobahn was rebranded to K1 Speed. By February of 2025, I showed up to film the footage you just watched. And about 6 months later, I returned to drive fast electric go-karts poorly inside the mall and to film the nighttime footage you're about to watch.
So we're back here at the Manassas Mall, and it's about 9 o'clock at night. Now it is in mid-August, just a couple of weeks before this episode aired. And I'm gonna go race some indoor electric high-speed go-karts here at the K1 Speed racetrack. So let's go inside and do it. Come on.
So here we are back at the Manassas Mall, now in August of 2025, and it's about 9 o'clock at night. The mall closes at 8, but K1 and most of the stuff here stays open past midnight inside the old Grant City turned Hex turned Target turned experiential wing. But after almost getting mutilated by Mario Karts in various malls around the DC metro area for the past year, it was finally my turn to get behind the wheel. Let's go.
Let's do it. Apple Pay or... Oh, okay.
And then is this too tight or too loose?
That's good.
He's gonna give you a QR code over there.
Over there?
Yeah, over there he's gonna give you a QR code.
Okay.
He gives it to you, you can come back over here and I'm gonna give you an unlock code to be able to get the race video.
Got it. All set?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All bags, phones, wallets, phones.
Put your visor down for your camera, okay? Okay. All set? Yep. Okay.
Oh, these go-karts are so much fun. They're fast, too. These things can get up to about 45 miles an hour, and when you're driving around indoors on a slick track low to the ground, it just feels insane. The steering's also really tight, and the brakes are just so bad, they take some getting used to. I paid about $60, and for that, I got 2 races and footage of one of those races. Each race is 12 laps, so I went around the track 24 times, and my best lap was the 6th in my second race at about 19 seconds. And the footage you just watched was of the last lap in my second race, the 24th lap. Obviously, I'm not gonna put all of that footage in this video, that would be crazy. But all of you need to do this. This place is so much fun. But by the 24th lap, my upper body was shot, and I was so sore. So just keep that in mind if you come here to race these things.
Oh, that was awesome. I just did 2 races, and it was a lot of fun. They were giving me tips on like how to drift around the track and get more efficient times. This place is really rad. K1 Speed at the Manassas Mall, you gotta come here. This place is really rad. They were giving me like tips on how to drift around the track and do like more efficient turns and how to get better times and stuff. This place is sick. Definitely gonna come back here. So he was telling me as I was coming around here, this is like the most difficult or challenging turn to get without like stopping. And he was telling me that what most of the experienced racers here do, they come flying around through here and they hug this wall, which is what I was trying to do. And they come up around that pin, that like hairpin turn up there. And he said they do like a 90-degree turn really quick. They like power slide through that and then they just take off through here. That's what I was trying to do. I don't know if it worked, but that's what I was trying to do. This is really awesome. It's my first time at this location, but I've been to Autobahn in White Marsh, Maryland a lot. But yeah, this is awesome. This place is really great. How'd I do? Tell me how I did? First place, I was the only place.
The management team here at K1 Speed was really accommodating. They gave me a tour of the equipment and let me walk around on the course a bit. And I'm just gonna show you really quick how the sausage is made and what's underneath the hood for these go-karts. It's really cool.
Just let me see like how like it works. This is the engine. And these are all electric, so they're powered by 4 different batteries, and they've got motors on the back wheels. So cool. And if none of you have ever driven one of these before, it's pretty simple, but it's actually kind of tough to drive. So there's 2 pedals. There's an accelerator, and then there's the brake over there. But these steering wheels are really hard to turn, so it takes a lot of upper body strength to actually turn those. So you just get put in this seat here, and you've got your harness that goes across. You steer with this, you go with that. Really, really cool. Dude, you rock.
All right.
You rock. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. You grab my paperwork here. K1 Speed. This place is sick. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Have a good night. Have a good night, man.
Thank you so much.
Attention shoppers, this is Stuart, Marna's ex-man friend, and I've got a note that was sent to me written by Marna from the Siglio Trace Correctional Facility down in Juarez, Mexico. This is what she said in her mail to me. I quote,
Yins all sons of are out there playing with mother Mario Karts while I'm in here surviving on charred rat meat and Mexican puddle water. Sal needs to go sell his violin or something to pay my bail and get me a plane ticket out of this place, because if I have to pick rat bones out of my hole one more time with the guards watching and making animal noises, I'm gonna...
And then it says, character limit exceeded, send extra postage. Well, I'm not gonna do that. Don't read this to Sal, because I'm getting engaged to China, Marna's sister, and I don't need that crazy Marna witchcraft spoiling this spicy stew I got cooking up. Anywho, I'll probably be married and living somewhere by the time we get out to Fair Oaks Mall next month, so if any of you want Marna, you can have her. Free Stewart.
Okay, so that place is awesome. K1 Speed. You have to come here. If you're in town for an extended period, you have to go here. It is so much fun. The mall is doing pretty okay. It's got the one like kind of dead concourse, but there's a lot going on here. The food court's doing great. It is losing the at-home, but overall the mall's just doing fine. So what I want to do now to close the episode out, I'd like to try and get into, like the mall. I know it's closed, but I want to see if there's like parts of it that we can see by going into like doors of things that are open. The Walmart's open, the IHOP is open, kind of like you just saw here. This concourse, the race track is open. But unfortunately, they gated the mall off. Balls. It's not a dead mall at all. But this place is great. Okay, let's go. Let's go see what we can find. Come on. Nope. So the IHOP is open 24/7. And let's see if the mall entrance here is open so we can take a peek inside. Nope.
I'd like to thank all of you for watching my video. Filming all these malls around the DC metro area over the last year has been so much fun, and it's been such a cathartic way for me to get to know my new home in Fairfax. If any of you ever move to a new area, do this. Just map out and drive around to see all of the malls near your new home, and just take a few pictures here and there to remember it. While I am excited to have the prospect of producing episodes of living malls behind me now, I will miss the active conversations on these places. So for any of you out there in this area, make sure you follow me on social media to keep these conversations going. You can find me on Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram at Salvatore Amadeo. Facebook at the Dead Mall Archives and Quite Studios, on the Dead Malls subreddit, which I do my best to moderate, and on my Discord server, home of DMod. Just go to discord.gg/DMod to join, and we can chat in real time. Thanks again to my patrons, Elite Explorers, Super Chatters, and merch customers. All of you are actively fueling my truck Galactus for future expeditions, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I'm actually going to spend the winter revamping the merch in my shop, adding some new trinkets and some ExLog branded wearables, if any of you are into that. If you've got suggestions, hit me up on my social media.
What the hell is a head spa? What?
Before we close the episode out, I wanted to send a shout out to all of the younger creators in the Dead Mall and retail documentation space. This community has changed since I first started my series in 2017, and we've seen quite a few kids mature into young adults over the past 8 years, and we've also seen countless new creators that are now making awesome content. I will admit that some of you annoyed the hell out of me back in the day, but in the past couple of months, I've spoken with many of you and learned that there was actually a single point of mutual tension within the community that absolutely needed to go. With that black hole of drama behind us, we can all explore together and create content as one community to preserve the memory of these awesome malls for future generations. So for anyone watching, please go show your support to the younger creators and some of the newer creators in this community, such as Zach the Mall Fox, North Sea Dog 22, and Exploring Retails with Andrew and all of Andrew's friends. Andrew, Zach, and Sea Dog, you're all talented young dudes that make fantastic videos, and I support all of you and your friends. So thank you for contributing such awesome work to this space. You guys rock.
That's awesome.
I'll be back soon to sell out one more time in ExLog 138, where we close out the Phase 8 Virginia Home Malls and DC Metro tour with my new local mall that I visit frequently, Fair Oaks. It's a classic Taubman, and I can't wait to show it to all of you. In that episode, we're also going to be cleaning up a few side quest locations, visiting the 3 remaining mallways around this area: Langley Park, Huntsman's Square, and the Fair City Mall. They're all really tiny mallways, but they're going to be awesome side quests, and we're going to have a lot of fun going to them. That's coming up in my next episode, ExLog 138, at the end after we visit Fair Oaks Mall. But until then, please stay safe out there, Legion. Take care of yourselves, grow up, and focus on your family instead of picking fights with children on YouTube, and have a fantastic day.
All 567 stores are closed during the Circuit City Going Out of Business sale.
Push it, click it, press it, flick it, tune it in, turn it on. This is what you watch it on. Any way you work it, integrate your circuit at the city. Circuit City. Come to the place you're welcome. Technology with a heart. Welcome to Circuit City, where service is state of the art. The future at your fingertips with all the right connections. Punch a key and you can see the new video directions. We can turn your car into an audio star with the one you want or the way you are.
You should see us now. We're the place to be.
The place to be this holiday season is Manassas Mall. Over 100 stores to choose from. You're sure to find the right gift for the holiday season or for any occasion. It's here. The fashion, style, and selection.
You should see us now.